Have you ever thought how autism may affect an individual when it comes to cooking? Well, autism can affect individuals in many different environments, and the kitchen is just one of those environments that might affect an autistic individual. And it was about a year ago when I was writing an article about autism and cooking, and I was telling my dad about some of the ways that I cook. And he then said to me, "Well, have you always done things in the kitchen and cooked in those particular ways?" And I was like, "Yeah, they're just the ways that I've always cooked and I've always done things in the kitchen." And he then said, "Well, they must be things that you do because of your autism and your diagnosis." And I didn't realize up until that point that some of the things I do in the kitchen were slightly different to most people and were because of my autism. So one thing I always do in the kitchen is I try and cook one pot meals like curries and pastas and stir fries because I find coordinating lots of different elements at the same time quite challenging. And if I do have to cook a dish with lots of different elements, like for example an English breakfast, then I either have to ensure that someone else has prepared one of those elements or that one or two of the elements are really easy and simple to prepare. Then mess and messy environments can cause me to become quite stressed. So I always have to ensure that the work surfaces are clean, and I always wash up things as I go along when I've finished using them to ensure that the kitchen is as clean as possible. I was having actually a conversation with someone the other day about autism and cooking, and I realised that I've never actually cooked a proper dinner in my parents' kitchen, but that I always cook in my grandparents'. And the reason is because my parents' kitchen is always a little bit too cluttered, and I always find myself becoming very, very stressed. But my grandparents' kitchen is always quite clean and tidy, and my head is so clear when I'm in that environment that I can cook lots of dishes without too much stress. And one other thing that I find difficult when it comes to cooking is certain textures are very, very difficult for me to touch. So things like raw dough, I can get quite stressed about having raw dough and anything sticky on my hands. So sometimes I have to ensure that I prepare things in advance or I buy certain ingredients that helps me to overcome this, like ready-made pastry. And yeah, autism can affect people in many different environments, including in the kitchen when it comes to cooking dishes